and was demanding them all to get up, and he was gonna start executing them, asking them some different questions and stuff. It was not a pretty scene in that library that day. This is another short clip. It's got some 911 stuff, but it also has some surveillance videos from inside the school. And we're actually going to see the shooters as they come in the library, see some of the pipe bombs exploding that they had. They had several bombs that did detonate in the school and some outside. Here's the cafeteria. That's one of the teachers there. Look at all these targets, people just hiding in place. That is not a good tactic for us there. The shooting's already started, bombs are going off, and they're simply hiding under the tables. Panic is starting to set in as he's firing into the crowd. Bomb goes off. There's an explosion right here. Here's one of our shooters. Could you imagine being in that environment? Now we got fires going off from the bombs. Pretty horrific, isn't it? To think that our kids had to live through that. And it's not ending, it's not going away. We've got to deal with this. Alright, if you notice so far, have I mentioned the shooters' names?
Nope.
No. Is there any reason to?
No.
Definitely not. Why do they deserve to have their name uttered ever? Ever. Some of the shooters, they're nobodies in this world. And they want to be somebody. They want to be remembered for something. Even if it's something horrible. Like Ted Bundy. They want people to know their names. They want to go down in history. They want to be somebody. Even if it means killing a bunch of their friends, or walking into a post office or into a business and just shooting a bunch of strangers. Do they deserve that notoriety? No, they don't. I said an ugly word the last time I taught this class, and I got told not to do that anymore. But you can only imagine what I would say to these people. That's right. That's what I'd say to these people. So without saying it, the sheriff is on board. If this incident here, we're not going to name the sheriff. And I would ask you to encourage all your law enforcement officials, all your media outlets, do not give these people a name. They don't deserve it. If we're going to name anybody, who should we name? The victims. We should honor them. They're the ones that paid the price. They're the ones that lost their life that day. Some of them fight to stay alive in that event. They fight to save others. I saw somebody on the San Bernardino deal. A lady came on and was talking about how her coworker who died in the event had got her and held her down and covered her up and said, "I got you, sweetie. I got you." I'm sorry? Shannon Johnson was saved by one of her coworkers. Okay, that was the guy that died? Shannon Johnson? Okay. That's a person we need to know their name. Shannon Johnson. Not the two people that killed him. What he did that day was important. So that's why we're pushing this. We don't want to name these people, and I won't mention their names in here. So, if you have any say so with your media outlets or your politicians or elected officials or police officials, tell them that's what you want. You don't even know these names. You don't want to know these names. The shooting in, I believe it was in Oregon that happened a couple months ago at the junior college. The sheriff that handled all that press conference. What's that guy's name? The shooter up there? Don't know. Never mentioned a word. Told the media, I'm not telling you who he is. Good job for him. All right, disaster response. This is a psychology part of this class. It's something that I teach with police officers a lot in dealing with stress events. Do you think they go through stress being in law enforcement? Yeah, dealing with all kinds of stuff. And these are sudden, dynamic stress events. This is not just, your boss is just wearing you out, or, you can't get a day off, or you got money problems. This isn't that kind of stress. Although that's valid stress, right? This is somebody sticking a gun in your face kind of stress. That kind of moment. How we're going to deal with that, what happens to the body, what we go through, what we experience, and what we can do to help manage that, control that, function in that world, and survive the event. That's what we're talking about here. There's 3 stages that they've identified that we're going to go through. Denial. That event? Deny it. Can't be me. No, you got that wrong. That's the wrong diagnosis, or that's the wrong test. You got the wrong person's blood. That ain't me. I don't have cancer. Denial. And what happens here in an active shooter, and the lady in the 911 tape said she thought it was cap guns at first. She thought they were filming something. And the reason being because this was not normal activity. Anything that happens out of our norm, we don't tend to accept it. Because it's just not, that can't be, because that wouldn't happen here. We don't have people in the school shooting people. They must be filming a play, or it must be cap guns, it must be a senior prank. So we deny it. If there are gunshots in this church, down this hallway, right now, tonight, we don't need to sit here and deny it, because that just takes time. If it sounds like gunshots, by God, it's gunshots. Accept it for what it is and let's move on. The sooner we accept that there's a problem, the sooner we can start dealing with the problem. So let's get past the denial part. Understand we have to accept that things happen. And it happens to us too. I can't tell you how many times I sit at a red light, and I'm sitting there and I'm getting ready to go, and a car runs the red light. And I'll sit there and go, that car just ran a red light. I sit there going, did that car just run a red light? That did not just happen. Because I wasn't expecting it, right? I was expecting somebody to stop at a red light, and they ran right through it. Now, I had to check the light. It's like, holy crap, it was red. What were they doing? So I go through that same thing. We all do. We have to understand it's going to happen to us. We have to be prepared for that, and then understand, no, that's not a cap gun. That's not somebody slamming tables down there. That's gunshots. We need to address it. When I talked to some police officers, we were out at TJC, and we talked about this. I said, we hear what sounds like gunshots down the hall. We're all going, right? We're going to accept it for what it is. It's gunfire. Let's go. Let's deal with this. Now, if it's gunfire, we're going to run down there and we're going to do what? We're going to kill the bad guy. We're going to stop what's going on, right? Now, if it's a maintenance man down there beating on a pipe with a hammer, what are we going to do? We're going to scare that out of him. Absolutely right. After he faints and we pick him up, dust him off, says, hey, you probably shouldn't do that when there's a bunch of cops and guns around here. That'll get you hurt. So, but we're going to accept it for what it is. We're going to deal with the problem. We're not going to deny the fact, okay? And now there's deliberations, the next phase. Once we accept that there's gunfire going on in the hallway, now what do? What's our plan? How do we deal with this event? What should we do? When's the best time to make a plan? Before you're in the middle of that storm? Because when you're in the middle of this stress event, we don't function very well. Our cognitive thinking goes away. We have a hard time reasoning and coming up with a plan to deal with it. So we need to come up with a plan before. So the next time you go to the movie theater with your family, when you go to the movie theater, you might want to look for exits. Where are the exits? If something happened right here, right now, how do I get out of here? If there's a bad guy over here, can I get out this way? Can I get out any of those doors there to the outside? Is there another exit here? What are these things back here behind us? Those windows? They're not meant to open, but by God, we can open them, right? Can we not go out a window if we need to? That's a secondary exit. It wasn't designed for an exit, but we can make it one. Now, if we're upstairs on the second floor, is that still a secondary exit? Yep. Would you rather jump out a second-story window or get shot? I'm going out the window, by God. I'll catch you when I get down there, okay? I ain't catching you. I ain't catching you. But if that helps you get out the window, I'll tell you I'll catch you. All right, so now we have to come up with some deliberation, a plan. We got to figure out under stress what we're going to do. So as we know, it's best to come up with a plan before it happens than during the event. So we need to be aware of our surroundings. They've been teaching this to women for a long time, right? Anybody take like a women's self-defense class? The first thing I tell you, be aware of your surroundings. Because we walk around with our heads up our hinds, don't we? We're oblivious to what's going on. Well, you know, we're just walking around. We don't realize there's 3 bad guys walking behind us. We're in our own little world. We're playing with our cell phone or our iPad or our laptop or whatever it is we got. We got our headphones in. We are clueless to what's going on. We can't live in that world. We're in a real world where there's real bad guys. You have to pay attention to what's going on. You have to know where you're at and deal with your surroundings, okay? So, like the women know, be aware of your surroundings. Understand who's in it and what's going on. Have your head on a swivel. When you go out to eat, sit where you can watch the door. Justin talked about officers being arrested because, like you said, we're targets. I got that uniform on there, and I want to see who's coming to that door. Drives my wife nuts. She gets to see, and all day long, what are you looking at? What does she look like? I don't know. I'm not looking at her. I'm just constantly looking at her. She goes, what are you looking at? Everything.
Everybody that walks into that door.
I don't know what's going on. Does a suspicious person stick out?
No.
Somebody doesn't belong? A lot of times they do. They're like, I mean, you just feel like, oh, that person there doesn't belong. That person there is unusual. There are things that we pay attention to because we pick up on body language and all this different stuff. Somebody comes in and they walk in the front door and all of a sudden they start looking around and all this stuff. That ain't normal. What's this guy up to? So we don't sit our back to the door, watching the door. Drives her nuts. I said, if you want to watch the door, here's the gun. You watch the door. And then the last thing we do, we got to do something, right? We got to act. We got to act. We have to do something. Doing nothing gets you killed. We have to do something. Even if it's a bad plan, it's better than no plan at all, right? Do something. Denial. Denial is the first thing. No, it isn't. Denial. We all go through denial. It's one of those things I talked about a while ago. The sooner we get through it, the better off we're going to be. Accept the events that are going around you for what they are. It's hard to do. You're going to see it and go, that didn't happen. This is not really going on. This is some kind of stunt. This is not real. It's real. We live in a violent world with violent people. They want to hurt you. Understand that. It's not some little make-believe world that a lot of people think they live in. There are real bad guys out there. We deal with them every day. You guys are seeing them on the news now all the time. It seems like on Fox News, that's all they talk about. This shooting here, this shooting there, and it's just crazy. We live in very, very dangerous animals. One of the bad things is we do what the crowd does. We are influenced by the people around us. But if people stand up in their car, all of a sudden there's a fire, there's a problem, break out, you start hearing people mumbling in the crowd. And he goes, hey, wait a minute. Can I have your attention, please? We've got a problem in the building. I need you to be calm. We're going to go out this door right here. I need everybody to slowly pick up and get out of their seats. Just leave your stuff here. It's going to be fine. And slowly go through this door and out in the parking lot into the back of the parking lot. Can we calm people down and take control? Absolutely. We can impart calmness on others, and we can impart panic on others as well. We're very social people. We don't want to break from the norm. We don't want to do things that other people aren't doing. And we're going to see here an example of that.
If you were unfortunate enough to be the victim of a crime or taken ill unexpectedly, you might think that surrounded by all these people, someone would intervene. After all, isn't there safety in numbers? Psychologists say no. Research suggests that often a victim is less likely to receive assistance when surrounded by a group rather than a single bystander. When people are in a crowd, it's easier to pass the buck. It's what psychologists call the diffusion of responsibility. Liverpool Street Station in London, a busy thoroughfare for commuters. Unknown to these passers-by bystander apathy, he's pretending to be ill. How long before he gets help? Helping would be inconvenient or even minutes, and no one raises an eyebrow.
It's always very distressing to watch situations like this where people are obviously suffering and no one's actually helping them. But what we have here is two conflicting rules. One is the rule we ought to help, and the other is the rule effectively a group of strangers who are exerting the pressure not to intervene, not to help, and it's very difficult to rebel.
Ruth, another actor, takes Peter's place. How long before she receives help? Strangers have silently formed a temporary group with a rule: don't get involved. They're afraid to stand out from the crowd and won't take action if no one else does. This woman has clearly spotted Ruth, but she conforms to the rule and does nothing. Watch what happens, though, when someone else helps.
A little bit flinky, you know.
She suddenly finds herself in a different group with a new rule.
No one had noticed it because there was a bloke sat there just absorbed in reading a newspaper.
This time, Peter's dressed as a respectable gentleman. Now, before he's rescued, so
Do you suffer from epilepsy?
someone wants to help.
He must be really ill. But what did you learn from this? All right, we talked about deliberation. That's making a plan. Once again, know where you're at. Active shooters not the dead. Have we had active shooters in church? Absolutely. Is the Christian faith under attack? Absolutely. Churches are thin, especially on Sunday morning when we're all in the sanctuary. Who's watching the door?
Police.
Huh? You're watching the door? Okay. But generally, the one that's got the view of the door is who? The pastor. He's watching the door. He's like, gotta go. But yeah, the doors are set up to something you might want to deal with in your church congregation. What's our security plans? How are we going to stress it? There's condition white. Imagine this: recliner, maybe dressed in your boxers. I don't know what you got on. You got your favorite car show or History Channel. Something's on their TV, and the wife is out of the house. We're good. Driveway. Oh, crud. We're at condition red. We're in a second. When we get to condition yellow, we are already losing some fine motor skills at that point in time. When we get just a little bit of stress, we're starting to affect our fine motor skills. Our heart rate goes up. Our respiration goes up. Now we get to condition red. We are at our peak physical condition right here. Our body is primed for an event, an attack, something. Our blood pressure's up, our heart rate's up, our respiratory's up, and we're starting to lose some gross motor skills at this point in time. We lose kind of the ability, and why we train police officers never have anything in their gun hand, because under severe sudden stress, they tend to freeze up, and we lose the ability to let go of things. And you can't get it out of your hand and get your gun out or do what you need to do with it. So we don't have things in our gun hand, because this happens to us too. In this area now, the body is an amazing thing. The human brain and the way it works is just, it's baffling, but it's amazing. The brain at this stage has